but today's message is a topic that relates to my faith because I'm a believer, a Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ. All right. So this one pertains to a lot of people, and more than likely I'm going to relate what I'm going through in medical school to just normal way of living. So today's message is about getting what you finally asked God for, but not realizing what you ask God for has other factors that come into play that you never consider. Because guess what? You were never in this place. You didn't have what you had before this, right? So you thought everything would be great and that you would not have struggles that in turn can make you absolutely frustrated, which is different for different people. And for me, I know I try not to complain because I'm like, wow, Lord, I asked for this and you really blessed me. But sometimes it is really hard and you want to succumb to those emotions because life really is lifing, what they say, that's what we say, right? Life is really lifing. So I wasn't expecting, like, when I get blessed that I would have to experience the side effects of being blessed now, that there's a good side and then there's a downside to it. And the good side for me is I'm a student, and the bad side is I'm still a student and I have a good 5 to 7 years or more that are left to complete my degree. So emotionally, I thought this new place and blessing would be happiness and like full bliss, and the vision of what I saw that it was going to be for my day-to-day, for it to only be the opposite of what I envisioned, right? So nobody talks about when you finally get what you want and that you end up being sad, depressed, all these other things. So basically you're grieving the place that you came from, right? So like what happens when you are in a new reality is for life or for something temporary. So it really is a new level, which comes with a new set of problems, because my former life didn't require all of this, but it required something. We just don't remember, right? So that taught me we're going to always be in a new place and want to go to the next level. The next thing is when you finally get to that new place, it requires something different of you as well. So you end up being like me. When I got to medical school, I was like, who told me to sign up for this and why? Because you thought you were missing out on something, right? You thought you were like, if I don't do this, if I don't get married, if I don't have a child, da-da-da-da. And it was definitely a desire, but no one teaches us how to live with what you ask for when you finally get it, and then you want to give it back because you like, Lord, you didn't promise me none of this. And God like, you're right, I didn't promise you this. You forgot that you actually have to go through it. You actually have to produce this, right? So 2 scriptures that I wanted to highlight today are Exodus 16:3 and John 16:33. So the first one is Exodus 16:3, and I'll put that below. But the Israelites said to them, if only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death. What, Lord? And then the next thing is John 16:33. It's kind of weird how they are like the same numbers with 3 in them. But I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world, right? All right. I can relate to and identify with Exodus 16:3 because I realized how the Israelites were upset and desiring to go back to a place that they were frustrated in hard labor with Pharaoh. But when they got to this new place, it's like, now, Lord, I know you didn't bring me here to kill me, to die, and that's what it feels like because I never seen the path I have to go through to get to this ending goal. So I didn't know that I had to take all these steps to get to empty. Even though I knew, I just was not realizing like, girl, you really about to go through it. You want this, but you're not realizing what comes with it. And that's what we say, we want to get stuff. We want to, as for those who are newly married with children, you didn't realize all this extra stuff that comes with what you asked for until you get it. And you like, what is this? Because you saw how joyful it was in your mind, and you seen how other people was married. You seen how other people got they got a child or children and a family, and you see them maintaining it, and you don't realize what's behind it, right? So when I started medical school, I really questioned people that looked like they were happy because I'm like, not you sitting here and you look like you got all together and I'm falling apart because that's what it felt like. I was like, Lord, this does not look like a blessing, and I want the refund. Okay, so starting medical school, everything was not what I expected it to be. I was mad every single day. And I promise you, I was really mad every single day. If you ask anybody that was on this campus, I was mad every single day and very frustrated because I remembered when I had a car, right, at home. I remembered all the food places I had. I remembered that I had a job, but it didn't pay much, but I had income coming in, and versus no income as a student. And I didn't have to accumulate all this debt, right? So now I'm accumulating debt and I'm on a fixed income because the income is not really income. It's to pay for school and the remaining whatever they give us. So that's why I could relate to the fact of what the Israelites were saying, because you really do start remembering it and thinking about, even though it was bad, you don't even remember the bad. You remember, like, I didn't have to go through this when I was at home. I was living my life, you know, I didn't have to do all of this stuff. Or my life didn't have to change so much, but you didn't like where you were at. That's the problem. You didn't like it, but now you're remembering how you want to go back to something that you didn't like because of the adversity that you're facing now that you're going forward into promise. It's horrible. Like, it really can be like frustrating, really. So even though like God brought us out, and now it's like, I know you didn't bring us here, Lord, but God's like, I never promised you what you keep thinking. So that's how we can talk ourselves out of it and sabotage something that God has given us, you know. But getting to medical school, when I got here, I didn't realize that this new life required me to go through situational depression, because honestly, when I got here, I didn't even know I was depressed. I didn't even know what it was. And it was because I went to somebody that was qualified to let me know, like, yeah, you're going through depression. What? You know, and I'm wondering why I'm not functioning on the level that I should be, or why I don't feel like getting up to do anything, or why I don't want to exercise, why I don't do whatever. But I was trapped in my apartment every day. My vitamin D levels were dropping. I was stressing and having anxiety attacks, blanking on exams. I had weight gain. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was studying for exams all day, so that meant I was inside. And then I'm thinking about how later on down the line, about how the process of receiving the payback of this degree, the only way I can get out of this and to get what I'm desiring out of this is I have to actually complete it. So in order for me to get that end result, I actually have to complete my degree. I can't even just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like, you know, pause right here, whatever, if I don't get it. No, I actually have to complete it. So now I realize, whoa, this is costing a lot. And honestly, it costs more than what you thought it was gonna cost, because now I'm over here like, Lord, the mental state of my mind right now, not me experiencing depression and trying to figure out what is happening at this point in my life. So it costs a lot, and we don't even think about that. So all these extra things felt like, so Lord, you brought me this far to make me frustrated about this outcome. And now that I'm in it, I can't turn back around because I'm too far in, you know, like it feels like you didn't promise me this. And God's like, you're right. I was not promising you that you was going to be happy all day, every day. I was not promising you that you was going to just live your best life. I was not promising that. This is the idea that you had about where you were going. So the funny thing is, it's crazy because I dedicated majority of my life to becoming and taking extra courses, getting like 2 more degrees. So getting here, it seemed like it was more enjoyable, even though it wasn't only to get here. It seemed like it was more enjoyable then, only to get here and be frustrated with what I prayed for and asked for, and been taking all my years to get to this moment in life, only to want to give it back, right? So even though I was aware of the end goal, that I was going to get my MD, the present circumstances were outweighing the picture of me in my white coat. Like, it was outweighing all of that. It didn't even matter. It's like, I don't even care about that, because not you sent me here and it feels like I'm failing at this, right? So, and the funny thing is, I can see, once again, like with the Israelites, I like the old things in my life because I have lived in that place so long, but where I am is promise. Where I am is better. And even though sometimes it may feel like it's a deficit, because it's like, look, I didn't have to do all of this when I was at home, right? I didn't have to do all of this. But the thing is, you're in a new place. And it'll have you going through it emotionally every day, because now you have to find new ways to adapt and make this life your best life. Because I knew how to function in the old way, but now I'm in a new place and I need to have new mind and strategies for my situation. But for some of us, it may be, I never seen this path I had to go through to have a successful marriage, or I never had to do this extra stuff being a wife. Now that I'm a wife, or I didn't know having a child is about taking all this time, and your time is not your time. So I remember going to my therapist and I was telling her, and I was like, yeah, one day I'm gonna be married, have a family. And she was like, did you think about this? Because you're a medical student, and life as a medical student is different. And when you get married, that changes everything. When you have a child, that changes everything. And she was talking about how certain people come into her office and how they finally have what they wanted. and now they're depressed and want to give it back because it has altered their life so much to where, oh, now you wanted a child, and now it's a permanent effect in your life because it's lifelong. Because some stuff is permanent, okay? Some stuff don't go away. Yo, you can get married and then probably divorce tomorrow, but then now you have a child. That child ain't going nowhere. That's yours, and it's your responsibility. And she was looking at me like, do you want that as a medical student? And I'm like, I think I do now. She literally had me question my whole life. Like, do I? I don't know. Now that you done brought this up to where people are depressed, and the problem is that I was actually experiencing depression. So every time we say we want something new, we don't think about what comes with the new thing that we that we want. And now that we get it, we like, I don't want this, because it takes time, it takes work, it takes a lot for this new thing that you're asking for, and it's a responsibility at the same time. So I got here, and then all of a sudden God was like giving me all these new things to maintain, to adjust to, and it was like, what is this? You know, I have to adjust to school, adjust to this environment, and maintain it all at the same time. So the one thing that helped me, or what I started to do, is like, how do you adapt? Which is maybe what some people may be asking. How did I adapt? For one, I had to assess my emotions or my life, because the first thing I did in order to get to where I am now was, like I was saying, I was complaining all day long, and I was like, what is making me so mad every single day? You know how you'd be frustrated, but you never realize or never think about why you're mad, so you can never address the issue. So I had to figure out what was making me mad every day. And what was making me mad was the fact of I had to be at school all day, every day. And then I had to catch the bus and do all this other stuff. So I had to sit down and think about, well, what is making me mad? And the second thing I did was I had to fast. So going through this, I didn't know what I need to do to survive on this level. So what I had to do, God had to force me to go on a fast, because I was in a situation where I had no idea what I need to be doing if I was going to pass school or fail. And God had to tell me, like, you're going to make it, but you got to go through it, you know? And you don't know what it takes because you've never been here before, and you didn't know it required all of this. So you don't know the stress level because, or like for some people, they can be given advice and don't know the stress level because they never been here. And all I could get from certain people was just pray about it. And even hearing them saying that was making me mad. So it's like, who could teach me to live on an island if you never lived on an island? Who could teach me how to be in a relationship in medical school, maintain it and maintain medical school at the same time if you never had that? You can't. So some of the stuff is unique to us, and that means we have to rely on God a little bit more, because that means I have to walk by faith and not by sight, because I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what this is, and I don't know how to operate in it without God's direction, right? So the next thing is, after that is number 3, getting a mentor. We have to find someone or a community that we trust, and use discernment as well, so that we can share our struggles with them, because things will always get hard, but it does not mean give up or we will never see the fruit of anything. Like, okay, I go to a job, but I know I got to make money on that job, so that doesn't mean quit, right? So some of us are being talked out of some of the blessings that we have or will be asked for, because now it's like, now it's getting tough and I want to give it back. Right? So now we have to find someone that is on that level that can keep us encouraged, because it really do be hard to keep yourself encouraged in something that you weren't expecting it to be that way, right? So, yeah, now you have to find somebody that's a little bit more skilled than you. And the last thing is, I had to create the environment that enabled me to be successful. And so at this point, I really started learning, like when I got here, what it means to truly create your own happiness, because sometimes that can be hard when your ideal of happiness is not what's happening in your life. Like, I expected my life to be this way when I got married. I expected my life to be this way when I got to medical school. This is for anybody, you know, but this is how you would expect your life to be, right? So I had to create a better environment to make me happy, because I'm telling you, I complain every single day. And I was like, Lord, I'm not even trying to complain. I kept telling God, like, Lord, I don't even like this. I'm in medical school, I don't even like it. Lord, I need your help, because I keep asking you and I don't know what this is, and I'm trying to get out of it. Right? So doing better for myself, what did that look like? For me, that looked like I had to move out of my dream apartment that I was in, which was by the water. And that was that meant I had to move to something that was cheaper, that was close by the school, so that I can stop being so mad that I have to be at the school all day, and now I can just go home when I want to, because I would just have to walk or whatever the case is, right? So for me, that looked like I had to switch my environment to give me a peace of mind. I had to switch and do certain things that allow me to be successful, because I knew where I was at with temporary, and I know where I'm going. So I had to do things to create the conditions to allow me to thrive, because like I said, living far away from the school stopped me from, I didn't want to get up early at all. And now that I'm a little bit closer, it prevents those certain things. But yeah, so I had to use wisdom and do what I didn't want to do to create peace in my life in some way. I had to create the ideal lifestyle. I had to create the environment, and you have to make the new place the place that works for you now. Now you got to learn how to make this place your place, right? And this is not easy, because the whole year, I still found myself complaining about where I am. And then I had to catch myself and realize, like, this is a blessing, and I'm not trying to complain, Lord, but at the same time, this is irritating. So it just seemed like it was more enjoyable getting to the place than actually being in the place. So for some people, I did more than I did more when I didn't have school, right? Because that could be the argument that I have. Or for others, it could be, I did more before I had to maintain this marriage or stay in this marriage. I did more before I had this child. And now it's your responsibility to take in consideration every decision that you make now, because you can't just do stuff now that you have a new responsibility, a person, right? So all these scenarios, you literally have to take into consideration everything you do, because it's not about your emotions, but it's mainly about purpose now, So we're complaining heavily about certain things, but it was some of the things that we actually wanted, but we just didn't know what it required. Even though being in church, like they always say, oh, the blessing, and then when you get it, it's like, but who teaching me when I get this? And now I'm mad. Okay. So why y'all ain't prepare me for this other stuff? Now that I've been a success, and now I have the other side of being successful, or who's teaching me about this? Instead of me going through it, and then it causes you to get mad about the situation that you're in, because it's like how Jeremiah was like, Lord, you deceived me, because that's how it be feeling. It really feels like deception. So sometimes some of us can be just placed in situations by default. You placed in his family that you don't like, so it's just what it is. Not even saying that, but in conclusion, I want to say, for some maybe say, do you regret it? I would say no, because now I can see how easily we want to go back to what was causing us pain at that time, or a place we prayed to get out of, only to step into what you asked God for and what you're destined to have. And now you complain about that when you ask for it. So now it's like, it's harder, yes, to find a way to manage this new life and be who I'm supposed to be. But it's better, because where I'm going and what this is producing, even though you got to keep telling yourself like this is going to be for the better, it really is, because where you're going is better than where you used to be at, and you ask for what you're in right now, right? So nobody could tell me about how to be on this level or what I would encounter, because a lot of situations are unique to that person. That shows how sovereign God is, and how each time he shows us, we really do need him, because he is the one that can get us out. People can even help me with this phase in my life, because now I'm in a new place that some people have never seen before. So I just wanted to hop on today and talk about living a new life that you asked for, because sometimes we live a life, we were asking for stuff and not realizing that when we get it, it's costing us our old life. And it sounds good when people are telling us like, oh yeah, you want this, you want to be married, you want to go to school, you want to do this, but really it's costing me what I just got out of, and now I'm grieving that old experience. So what do I do with that? Well, at this point, you got to go through it. You got to keep going until you get to your desired place. That's just about it. And will it be easy? No, because like it says in John 16:33, I want to bring this back. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So we will overcome, and we're more than conquerors through Jesus Christ, who loves us. We are more than conquerors through Jesus Christ, who loves us, and we can do all things through Jesus Christ, who strengthens us. But this is just what goes with the new territory that we're in. But that does not mean give up. That means we got to keep going so that we can possess what we've seen And it doesn't mean that God promises a life without struggle. So this is just what we have to live in now and live through it and overcome. Sorry, y'all. Nice talking to you guys today, and I hope you have a wonderful day and that this gives you some insight that we can't give up. We got to keep going. All right, see you.